Young Dolph, a name synonymous with grit, hustle, and Southern rap, met a tragic end. His journey from the streets of Memphis to the heights of the rap game was nothing short of inspirational. He was a self-made artist who used his music to tell stories of struggle, resilience, and triumph. His lyrics resonated with many, painting vivid pictures of his life experiences and the environment he grew up in. Gunned down in his prime, he left behind a legacy of music and a city in mourning. Fans and loved ones gathered to pay their respects, their hearts heavy with grief. The outpouring of love and support was a testament to the impact he had on his community. His death was not just a loss for the music industry, but for everyone who found solace and strength in his words. His death was a stark reminder of the violence that plagues our streets. The senseless act of violence that took his life left a void that can never be filled. It brought to light the harsh realities of life in urban neighborhoods where gun violence is an all-too-common occurrence. The community was left to grapple with the pain and the questions that followed such a tragic event, but the story took an unexpected turn. The arrest of his alleged killers brought a new layer of complexity to the tragedy. The investigation was swift, and soon suspects were in custody. The courtroom became a stage for a different kind of drama, one that would determine the fate of those accused of taking young Dolph's life. The legal proceedings were closely followed by the public, each development adding to the emotional weight of the situation. One of them, a young man barely out of his teens, now faces a life behind bars. His future, once full of potential, now overshadowed by the consequences of his actions. The reality of spending the rest of his life in prison is a stark contrast to the freedom he once knew. It's a sobering reminder of how quickly life can change and how the choices we make can have far-reaching effects. This is where our story truly begins. This ain't about glorifying crime. It's about peeling back the layers to understand the deeper issues at play. The prison system, the cycle of violence, and the impact on families and communities. It's about shedding light on the human stories behind the headlines and the ripple effects of one tragic event. This is about understanding the consequences, the heavy price that comes with taking a life. The young man now faces a future defined by confinement, isolation, and regret. His days will be spent reflecting on the choices that led him here, and the life he could have had. It's a harsh reality, but one that many face in the wake of violent crimes. We're going deep inside the belly of the beast, into the world of prison, where young Dolph's killer is about to learn some hard truths. The prison environment is unforgiving, a place where survival often depends on navigating a complex social hierarchy. It's a world with its own rules and codes, far removed from the life outside. The streets might have their own code, but in here it's a whole different ballgame. The young man will have to adapt to a new reality, one where every day is a struggle to maintain a sense of self and humanity. It's a journey that will test his resilience and force him to confront the consequences of his actions in ways he never imagined. Imagine a place where freedom is just a word, a distant memory, a place where every step echoes with the weight of lost dreams and broken promises, where steel bars replace city skylines and the horizon is nothing but a series of fences topped with barbed wire. The only sounds are the clanging of metal doors, the shuffling of feet, and the muffled whispers of despair that fill the air like a haunting melody. This is the reality that awaits young Dolph's killer, a stark contrast to the life of fleeting fame and notoriety he once knew. Gone are the days of street corners and recording studios where beats and rhymes were the currency of respect. Now his world is confined to cold concrete walls and the suffocating presence of guilt. Prison ain't no joke, it's a relentless reminder of the choices that led him here. It's a place where the tough act gets old real quick and the fight for survival is constant. Every day is a battle, not just for respect, but for sanity. You trade in your street cred for a number, your identity stripped away. You're no longer a name, just a statistic in the system. The air is thick with tension, a constant reminder that danger lurks around every corner. Trust is a luxury you can't afford. This is his new reality, a far cry from the life he once knew. The walls close in and the days blur together in a monotonous cycle of regret and reflection. Letters from the outside world become lifelines, small glimpses of a life that seems almost unreal now. Writing becomes a way to hold on to sanity, to remember who you once were. Group therapy sessions and counseling offer a sliver of hope, a chance to confront the demons that led to this point. But redemption is a long, arduous road. Family photos and memories of loved ones are bittersweet reminders of what's been lost. The pain of separation cuts deep, a constant ache that never truly fades. Daily routines like working in the prison kitchen or cleaning floors become the new normal. These tasks, mundane as they are, offer a brief escape from the harsh reality. Moments of solitude, like watching the sunset through a small window, are rare but precious. They offer a fleeting sense of peace in an otherwise turbulent existence. As he lies on his prison bed, staring at the ceiling, he contemplates the choices that led him here. The weight of his actions is a heavy burden, one that he will carry for the rest of his days. As the prison lights dim and the cell doors close for the night, the reality of his situation sinks in. This is his life now, a far cry from the freedom he once took for granted. In the quiet moments when the noise of the prison fades, he is left alone with his thoughts. Regret, guilt, and a longing for redemption fill his mind. Each dawn brings a new day, a new chance to survive, to endure. The routine of roll call, the march to the yard, it all becomes a part of the rhythm of prison life. And in those rare moments of clarity, he finds a glimmer of hope, a determination to make something of the time he has left, to find a way to atone for his past. For now, the prison gates are his world, a constant reminder of the life he once had and the future that lies ahead. A future that, despite the bars and the walls, still holds a sliver of possibility. The day begins before sunrise, a rude awakening to the harsh reality of confinement. The cold, unwelcoming light filters through the small barred windows, casting long shadows that seem to stretch endlessly. The clanging of metal against metal serves as an alarm clock, a jarring reminder of where you are, signaling the start of another monotonous day. Breakfast, if you can call it that, is a tasteless concoction that does little to satisfy the hunger pangs. The food is often cold, unseasoned, and barely edible, a far cry from the comforts of home. The disinterest on the faces of the inmates is palpable, a silent protest against the indignities they endure daily. Then it's a rigid schedule of meaningless tasks, designed to break the spirit and instill obedience. Cleaning floors, scrubbing toilets, and other menial chores become the routine, each task a reminder of the loss of freedom. Every minute feels like an hour, every hour stretches into an eternity. The walls close in and the mind begins to wander, seeking an escape that never comes. Time loses all meaning within these walls. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The concept of time becomes a cruel joke, a never-ending cycle of sameness. But it's not just the monotony that grinds you down. The constant threat of violence hangs in the air, an ever-present menace that keeps everyone on edge. It's the constant threat of violence that hangs in the air. One wrong look, one misspoken word can escalate into a fight for survival. The tension is palpable, a silent undercurrent that runs through every interaction. One wrong look, one misspoken word can escalate into a fight for survival. The guards watch over the inmates, but their presence is a double-edged sword, offering both protection and oppression. The fight for survival is not just physical but mental, a battle to maintain one's sanity in an environment designed to strip it away. Prison is a microcosm of society, a brutal hierarchy where only the strong survive. Forget street gangs and neighborhood crews, and here it's all about racial lines and alliances forged in desperation. New inmates, especially those with high-profile cases like Young Dolph's killer, are prime targets. They're tested, pushed to their limits, their every move scrutinized. Respect is earned, not given, and often comes at a price. Violence is a language everyone understands, a way to assert dominance and maintain a semblance of control in this chaotic world. It's a dangerous game, one where the stakes are higher than ever. Section 5. The fight for respect, power dynamics, and survival tactics. Survival in prison requires a delicate balance of toughness and cunning. You gotta be ready to fight, but also know when to back down. Trust is a luxury few can afford, and alliances can shift like the desert sands. Young Dolph's killer, thrust into this unforgiving environment, will have to learn fast. He'll need to shed his street persona and adapt to the unwritten rules of prison life. Every interaction is a test, every conversation a potential trap. He'll have to watch his back, choose his words carefully, and learn to read the subtle cues of this dangerous new world. There's no room for weakness in this concrete jungle. Section 6. The invisible scars, psychological toll of confinement. The physical confinement is only part of the punishment. It's the mental torture, the endless hours of solitude and introspection that can truly break a man. Haunted by the consequences of his actions, Young Dolph's killer will have plenty of time to reflect on the life he took and the life he's now condemned to live. The weight of his crime will be a constant companion, a heavy burden on his conscience. Sleep will offer little escape, tormented by nightmares and the chilling echo of gunshots. The isolation, the lack of human connection can chip away at his sanity, leaving him vulnerable to despair and the crushing reality of his situation. Section 7. Beyond the bars, justice's ripple effect on the offender's life. Justice, we're told, is blind, but its impact is far-reaching, extending beyond the courtroom walls. While Young Dolph's family grapples with their loss, the families of those accused are left to pick up the pieces, facing their own private hell. The stigma of incarceration follows them like a shadow, a constant reminder of the crime that shattered their lives. Mothers and fathers, wives and children, all bear the brunt of the sentence. They endure the shame, the financial hardship, and the emotional turmoil of having a loved one behind bars. The cycle of pain continues, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Section 8. A cycle of hardship breaking free from the chains of consequence. The consequences of violent actions reverberate through generations. Children grow up without fathers, mothers struggle to make ends meet, and the cycle of poverty and despair deepens. For young Dolph's killer, the realization of the pain he's inflicted will be a bitter pill to swallow. He may find solace in religion, in education, or in the support of fellow inmates, but the road to redemption is long and arduous, paved with guilt, remorse, and the constant struggle to break free from the chains of his past. Section 9. The price of retribution. Exploring the true cost of justice. We live in a society that demands justice, that seeks retribution for wrongs committed. But what is the true cost of that justice? Is it enough to lock someone away, to strip them of their freedom and leave them to rot in a cage? Or should we strive for something more, for rehabilitation, for a chance at redemption? These are the tough questions we need to ask ourselves. The prison system is broken, often perpetuating the very cycle of violence it aims to prevent. We need to find new solutions, ones that address the root causes of crime and offer hope for a better future. Section 10. A call for reflection, understanding the weight of the sentence. Young Dolph's death was a tragedy, a senseless act of violence that robbed the world of a talented artist and a community of a beloved figure. But the story doesn't end there. It continues within the cold, unforgiving walls of a prison cell, where a young man grapples with the weight of his actions. This is a story about consequences, about the ripple effect of violence and the human toll of justice. It's a call for reflection, a reminder that every action has a reaction, and that the choices we make can have far-reaching consequences. Section 11. Finding hope, seeking redemption, and breaking the cycle. Even in the darkest of places, hope can flicker. It might be found in faith, in education, or in the simple act of human kindness. For young Dolph's killer, the journey ahead will be long and arduous, but it's not impossible. He has the opportunity to confront his demons, to atone for his sins, and to emerge from the abyss a changed man. It's a chance to break the cycle of violence, to honor young Dolph's legacy by choosing a different path. This is the power of redemption, the potential for transformation that lies within us all.